Have you ever tried explaining yourself so perfectly that no one could possibly misunderstand you, and somehow they still did? For most of my life, I believed that if I was careful enough with my words, thoughtful enough with my explanations, and good enough as a person, I could avoid rejection. I was wrong. Because the harder I tried to be understood, the more anxious I became. I would rehearse conversations in my head, over-explain simple things, clarify points no one even questioned, and at the time, I thought I was just being a good communicator. But the truth, I was terrified of being misunderstood. I remember the exact moment I realized how deep this ran. I was in high school. My best friend Eliza has suddenly become distant, cold, quiet, avoiding me. What I didn't know was that another girl, Sarah, had been spreading rumors about me, and Eliza believed her. But at the time, all I knew was that my best friend had turned against me, and it broke my heart. So I decided to end the friendship. We had AP Spanish together last class of the day. I wrote a breakup note and planned to quietly pass it to her before class ended. But right as I slid the note across the desk, my teacher called me, and she took the note. Then she told me to stay after class. When everyone left, she read the letter in front of me, and I could see the shock on her face. You see, I was her star student. Perfect behavior, perfect grades, fluent Spanish. In her mind, I was the model student. So when she looked up and told me she was disappointed in me, it crushed me. And I tried to brush it off. I told her she didn't understand that I didn't care what she thought. After all, Eliza was the one being a horrible friend. But when I got home that night, I couldn't stop thinking about my teacher's disappointment. Not Eliza choosing someone else over me, my teacher's disappointment. And immediately my brain went into damage control. I spent 2 hours drawing a red rose on a sheet of paper. At the top, I wrote the word perdóname, which means forgive me. Then I wrote a long, beautiful apology letter on the back in perfect cursive. Looking back now, that reaction wasn't normal. But for a people-pleasing, over-explaining perfectionist, it felt completely natural. And honestly, that was just one story. I could write 2 full books filled with moments like that. Because as I got older, I started to realize something uncomfortable. My need to explain myself perfectly wasn't about communication, but rather control. Perfectionism gave me the illusion that I could control how people saw me. If I explained things clearly enough, no one could reject me. So I over-explained everything. I answered arguments before people even made them. I went down conversation rabbit holes trying to avoid saying the wrong thing. I justified even the smallest decisions, all because I believed something dangerous, that losing someone's approval meant losing my value. But the truth goes deeper than communication habits. For me, the root started in childhood. My father abandoned me, and the next 3 father figures in my life were present physically but absent emotionally. When a father is missing, a huge part of identity goes missing with him, and without realizing it, I internalized this absence as something being wrong with me, and self-rejection became the seed. And from that seed grew 2 powerful fears: the fear of rejection and the fear of abandonment. So I made it my mission to be acceptable, especially in the eyes of men. If I could just be good enough, pretty enough, clear enough, perfect enough, then maybe no one would leave. That belief created a vicious cycle. The more I tried to control how people saw me, the more anxious I became. And the more anxious I became, the more I needed to explain. But eventually that cycle did reach a breaking point when I got married, because suddenly the fear of being misunderstood, of my words being twisted, of losing favor came to the surface one last time, and it led to a moment in church that completely changed how I saw myself. I will be sharing part 2 of this story and how God finally set me free from this fear in the next painting video. For now, enjoy the rest of the montage, and I will be sharing with you guys how I got inspired, what I named the painting, and what you shall see going forward. So enjoy the rest of the clips, and I'll see you at the end. Is the final piece, and I, by the help of my husband, named it a touch of my garden. And this was actually inspired by a puzzle that my mom completed a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week. And what was so beautiful about it, it just struck me, was the silhouette of the puzzle, and I'll have a picture for you guys to see. And I will say, I'm not fully satisfied with it, but there does come a point where, as an artist, you have to stop yourself from trying to fix everything wrong with it, because the more that you do it, the more you have to fix other things. And so when I reach that point, I have to stop myself and force it. After a couple of days that goes by, you're like, actually, it's not so bad. So I really enjoyed making this piece so much, especially for the fact that my mother inspired it. So, and she loved it too. So I was really, really happy with it. This is also the first time that I decided not to make my edges of the frame so crisp, and I really love that. My other ones, you guys will notice I had like a clear border right around, but I just decided to go with the free flow, the spontaneity of painting, and I think it actually gave it a more artsy look. So I'm gonna be doing this from here on, but I hope you girls enjoyed this video, and remember, you are God's standard of beauty, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next one. Bye.